let's talk about Boston, Sue, because where are you finding the innovation? What companies already have you put money to work in?
Yeah. So, Caroline, first of all, thank you for doing this and having us. I'm delighted to be here. So GE Ventures is actually investing in a number of different spaces. We invest across our horizon as it relates to what GE is actually involved in. And so we're investing in healthcare, we're investing in energy, advanced manufacturing, and we're also investing in software. Some of the companies that we're excited to invest in are, for example, Desktop Metals. You heard earlier from our CFO, Jeff Bornstein, about how big of a bet that GE is making around this transformative technology. And one of the things that we have done at GE Ventures and invest in a company called Desktop Metals, and it's a Boston-based company. We're really excited about the way it's democratizing and really transforming the way manufacturing is being done. And it's around a metal 3D printing technology. So that's just one of them, for example. Catalent is a company, so many different business models have really emerged. And Catalent has taken the business model of marketplaces and essentially set it out there to find talent for what you might be looking for. It matches talent external in the external ecosystems and to internal needs of a company, but it also matches your internal talent to what you might need on specific projects. And they're a company that are neighbors to us right next door to where our temporary headquarters are.
Yeah, they were previously known as Hourly Nerd, went through a rebrand and seems to be working. Sue, I want to know what the strategy is. I mean, why, you say you many times have really lined them up with where GE is focused, as you say, in manufacturing, for example. Is this a potential M&A play in the future as these companies get bigger, or is this seeing where the industries are going that you're already working within?
It's both. And what we try to do is make sure that we stay at the absolute forefront of what's happening. It's sort of, where are the unknown places that GE should be sure to keep their eyes on, to make sure that we are absolutely understanding how those ecosystems are evolving. So we're very involved in really the future, the cutting edge, and exploring what those technology convergences might bring to the equation. And so we try very hard, and it's not just for acquisition. A lot of corporate venture capital arms will tell you straight out that that's what they're trying to do. We do it for strategic reasons that involve both learning and also that allow us to participate in the ecosystem, to understand where that landscape is going, to understand what customers are really liking and adapting to. So this strategy of being able to invest and to partner and to create new businesses within GE Ventures is something that we're pretty excited about.
And it's not cheap, Sue, at the moment. We've seen some heady valuations. How are you finding the competition when you're trying to get your ins into some of these particular areas and some of these companies?
Yeah, well, we are seeing valuations come down. I think you're going to hear that across the board with a number of the venture capitalists, both corporate venture and financial institutional investors. But what I will say is the following. You can't depend on just being differentiating yourself as a financial investor. Everybody has capital. So what we have to think about is really what else can we bring to the equation that really helps the startup and be differentiated in terms of helping them grow. So we think about the kind of scale that GE brings to the party, the kind of leadership development that GE is so well known for, and being able to offer that out to our entrepreneurial partners and the CEOs and the CFOs of the entrepreneur companies that we have in our portfolio. We also do it by thinking about what co-development activities might we be able to do with our respective startups, what might be able to do in terms of distributing their particular products. So we must differentiate ourselves, not only because we have capital and because we're nice people, but frankly because we can bring a really differentiated offering as it relates to the kind of things we can help them grow. So it's a win-win for both them and for GE.
And a global opportunity for these startups if they do indeed leverage your platform. Jeff Bornstein telling me earlier, look, more than 50% of our revenue is from outside the US. We've got to think like a global company. What, therefore, do you think of the global landscape of startups and companies that you're potentially investing in? Because how does Boston sort of stack up versus some of the other key hubs?
Oh, Boston is undergoing a renaissance right now. It's a remarkable place to be investing in, and we're very excited about it. Of the 100 startups that we've invested in, and GE Ventures is relatively young in terms of the GE 125-year history. We've only been around for about 3.5 years. Of those 100, we have about 10 investments in Boston. And part of what is so incredible about Boston is it's the whole package. You have the universities, which pump out talent in really incredible ways, the top quality educational system. You have the entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is pretty mature now. It's one that really is healthy and vibrant. Then you've got a very healthy venture capital ecosystem that understands the phases and the stages of being able to invest and actually grow the companies, not to mention a very, what I would call welcoming and inviting government relationships sort of activities that's going on in Boston. So it's really prime in terms of investing and quite differentiated from a number of different areas.
So a tenth of investments are in Boston. What about Silicon Valley? How does that stack up? Give us an idea of where the portfolio splits, because is Silicon Valley still the bigger brother?
Silicon Valley is still the big brother. It's been there, it's going to be there for a while, but that's not to say Boston can't get as big. So, and GE is certainly hoping to be right there in terms of catalyzing that, stimulating that, and partnering with the entrepreneurial ecosystem to do that. Silicon Valley has got some secret sauce that they've been able to master for quite some time. And I think that everybody looks to Silicon Valley and what Silicon Valley has done and is trying to mimic it all over the world. Boston has been around for quite some time and knows how to do this. And I think now with the kind of things that people want to invest in, this trend of going from tech for consumer to tech for enterprise, where you're starting to deal with these really hard problems, but yet using what we've learned in tech for consumer, meaning mobility and analytics, and being able to apply that to hard problems is really quite heady stuff. And it will be very important to the productivity of many different companies. And I think for the competitive nature of corporate America, this is going to be very, very important. And I think Boston is really committed to really building up that type of capability.